3, 2, 1, and go. And welcome, one and all, to the MIRTH Web Show. My name is David Batterina, and for the next hour-ish, I will be exploring all things mayhem and insanity, all things creativity. This show exists to help you, the creator, connect with fans, friends, and peers by showcasing not just your work, but your brain, creative process, personality. Please like, subscribe, hit the bell. We are streaming on Tuesdays. I am eliminating Thursdays, but I've got a surprise for everybody because we've got some changes coming to MIRTHquake, and it's going to be supremely epic. So for the next hour, expect the deep conversation and some lighthearted fun and some regular ass conversation and all the things with my good friend and very special guest, Mr. Jesse James Fain. Greetings, sir.
Greetings. I'm incredibly excited to entertain these people with this regular ass conversation.
We're going to do everything. I don't know. I just decided to go a little off the cuff on the intro. I probably shouldn't do that. That's fine.
No, it's good.
No. And for those of you, yeah, we're going to open up the chat. We're going to go here because my boy's already in here. Greetings, Jeremy. How are you, man? Thanks for coming in, and got a fun little thing here. I added some graphics, so we're going to talk homemade hot air balloon, right? It's right there. Or wait, hold on. I gotta bounce this out of here so we can see it. We've got the hot air balloon background. I need to know which one you guys prefer. We got the janky submarine way down in the deep. I kind of dig both, but I also dig just like the regular, kind of like the show thing going on here. Every once in a while, my computer is just a little bit weird, and it's like, yeah, you're taking too much memory, so I'm going to shut down, and I just have to close it all out. But it's fine for now. It's all good. Greetings, Melissa, Mal. How are you? Thank you guys for joining us. And Jesse, man, it was shoot. Which episode were you? Way back when? I wonder. I need to have a peek.
I want to say 3 or 4.
You're my first return guest. Like,
yeah,
I'm pretty sure this is not like this was the first time I've got somebody that I'm like, yeah, let's get you back on. Not that everybody's terrible, but it's just the show that actually
some people are terrible.
The show is just like it has some age to it now, which is like kind of weird. I've been doing this for like months. Pretty wild. I'm trying to see episode. No, it wasn't 12. It was earlier than that.
It was single digits.
It was 5. You were episode 5. Yeah. So there you go.
Ballad of Fallen Angels.
Nearly 30 episodes ago. A lot has changed for sure. I'm streaming on a totally different platform. We got all sorts of cool gadgets and whatnot going on. So like, this is what it's like, man. You upgrade little by little. It's a lesson to those of you out there trying to figure out whether you should have a YouTube channel or what you got to do with your socials. You just got to start. Whatever it is you think you're doing, you just got to start and then upgrade as you go. Right. So it's wonderful to have you back. We talk all the time. Anyway, so I'm just super excited to go and dig in and see what's new with you and all that kind of stuff. But of course, first thing I have to ask you is if your mind changed and if you're we'll float to the surface and I will personally open the hatch for you if you want to join us down in the sub. I'm saying probably not. Like, I don't think so, but do you have a surprise for me, or are you like, hell no, I'm just staying in the balloon?
So I have to say my answer is for one reason and one reason only.
Okay.
There is a semi-foolproof contingency plan for one of these situations that does not exist for the other.
All right.
If you manage to get the homemade hot air balloon all the way up into the air, which is what you always say, way up in the sky.
Way up in the sky, yeah.
I can have a parachute on my back.
All right. Look.
If I am stuck in that janky ass submarine at 5,000 meters or whatever,
yeah, way down there.
The scuba gear. Scuba gear is not going to help. The pressure is going to kill me before there's There's nothing I can. There's no bag of tricks I can bring. I
Ugh.
cannot MacGyver my way out of this. So
All right,
I
listen.
sadly am
You know,
staying team hot air
I may
balloon.
I may have to clarify this question going forward and be like the homemade hot air balloon, and you don't have parachutes or bungee cords or anything, right? You can't like there's no umbrella. You can't float down like Mary frickin' Poppins, or whatever. No, he doesn't make a good point. No, don't say that. No, don't say that. That's a terrible point.
The
That's cheating.
betrayal.
That is 100%. Get the hell out of here with this. That's it. I went out and bought you soup. Don't even. All right. You're starting to fight in
Oh
my place
Lord.
now. You know what? I'm not feeding your cat at night anymore, Jacqueline. He's just gonna be annoying all night long. All right. So I get it. I get it. But that question, I'm gonna have to change the metrics of the question. I feel like I'm gonna need to refresh this with some other kind of stupid question at some point. But at this point, I've done this 34 times. Like, I don't know if I can really escape janky submarine versus homemade hot air balloon anymore.
Oh no,
Uh,
it's a thing.
it's got to
it
be.
has to. It's part of It's part
It's
of the
part of the
central part of Mirthway.
identity. I know,
Hmm.
I know. It's the identity of the show. The identity of the show. She just gave me this. That's good. Oh shoot, man. All right. Well, let's start it out. He is, and he's a pain in the ass. I know. All right. I'm not having a conversation with you right now. I'm talking to Jesse. All right, man. So here's what I want to do is give you your 30 seconds of the floor is yours platform, right? And give me the updates on what you're working on, what we've got going on. I am involved in one of your projects, and I'm very
Yes.
excited about it. So just go with the spiel. Hi, I'm Jesse. I'm in a homemade hot air balloon because I'm cheating with a parachute, et cetera, et cetera. And off you go, man.
Yeah. Hi, everybody. I'm Jesse James Fain. I go by the Outlaw author because the branding writes itself. Yes, that is my name. I'm not going to show you my driver's license, but I promise you that is in fact it. I write anything I can squeeze a sword fight, a fist fight, or a gunfight into because at some point I have either really nerded out on those things, been in one, or learned how to do it. So that's what I do. I work all of that into my works. I try and bring a little bit of real life combat into your fiction because it's fun. Um, as far as updates are concerned, since the last time you guys saw me, I can now officially say I am an editor. I have a assistant editing gig doing a really fun project. It came from the trailer park, which David has
Nice.
been
Yep.
a part of previously.
Absolutely.
Um,
Yep.
again, assistant editor. There's still going to be other people's names on that cover, but I actually get to help be part of the process and bring a really fun story to y'all. I get to play with trailer park elves and my own version of
Nice.
what people do when they have to deal with our supernatural creatures in real life.
Right.
Um, so there's that going on. My big project that we are working on for this year is called The Holy Diver in the Midnight Sea. David is a part of that project.
Oh
He's
yeah.
one of my authors for it. It is starting a new universe that centers around the Midnight Sea, which is trans-temporal and trans-dimensional. So it is a sea that binds everything together. Think the river Styx. Think the river
Bifrost.
yeah, the Bifrost, the rivers that flow to the land of the gods. All of that is united at the Midnight Sea, and there's a bar on the side of it, and everyone that hangs out at that bar are the power players and the divers that go and find what you need out in the cosmos. I'm extremely excited for this. I'm new to the author game. I don't think it's the 21st yet. So I'm just short of 6 months being a pro author, and people who have written more works than me, who have done amazing things on their own careers, have all placed a trust in me to bring this project to life. And most of them gave me an almost emphatic yes from the beginning. So I'm extremely blessed to bring this forward. Um, I've been speaking on some panels and stuff like that. And, catch me at a local con anywhere in the Atlanta area, catch me at Liberty. And, let's see things. Hi, Molly. Hi, Melissa. Hi, Mal. Hey, Phil. Hi,
Yeah, but
everybody.
like Philip, but just can you like haven't you seen Das Boot? Like Das Boot counts too. I'm just saying. I'm not going to sit here and argue about the damn hot air balloon this whole time. No, buddy, I am super excited about Holy Diver and Midnight's, like, just this entire thing that you've got going was really compelling from the jump, because you're like, it's kind of like just like a little bit of a metal inspiration to all of
Yeah,
this. And I'm
absolutely.
like, freaking hell yes. So I have been planning and plotting a story for weeks and weeks and weeks, even though like it's not going to, I'll be able to write it in like 2 days,
Yeah,
but it's required like quite literally months of planning on my part, because I'm just getting very, very intricate with how the story is going to be told, channeling my inner Christopher Nolan for this one, in some ways. So
yeah,
really excited, and I love the idea of just being like, time doesn't matter, places and space doesn't matter, and like none of that. So if you want, the way you kind of described it to me is, if like you need a cyborg hanging out with a Caribbean pirate, like just do that, or make a
yeah.
cyborg Caribbean pirate with an alien friend, saving a Victorian princess in Egypt, or whatever. Like it's so the whole thing's in front of us. Exactly.
Yeah, it is. I mean, that's absolutely, that was a huge part of it.
Yeah.
Huge heavy metal influence, tabletop RPG influences. But what I wanted more than anything, I love mixing genres. Um,
Yep.
and the that means like I wanted you to be able to pull from wherever, but on top of that, I wanted to make it easy for my authors.
Yeah.
I wanted
Yeah.
to make it. I wanted to give somebody that would happen the way it just happened with you, where you like I
Right.
took one look at that and went, oh yeah, like well, I want to bite into that. Let's go.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
was important for me because I don't want this to be a one off.
Right.
I can only squeeze and after about 10 financially, like 10 stories financially, you're chopping this pot way too
For
much.
sure. Yeah, it's
So
tricky. Yep.
I can only squeeze about 10 people into the first one. But if the first one rocks, then I can do a second one. And if the
Yep.
second one rocks, I can do a third one. And then eventually, I've talked with you briefly about the Heavy Metal Writers Guild or Heavy Metal
Yep.
Writers Society or Association, like whatever. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
I want to make this the neo publisher, the next step beyond what everyone's trying to do with indie. Is I don't
Right.
want anybody to have a publisher. Most of us, we don't need a publisher, we need a publicist.
Oh, absolutely.
And
Yeah.
so what I'm trying to hopefully evolve this into is where we all rely on each other. There's this fantastic community that you've been building. I know all the faces here running this
Right.
up right now. Like I know three-quarters of these people, and they're all stunningly talented. I'm beta reading for Melissa. Phil edited
Yep.
Dead Wolf, which it will hopefully be out soon, and is one of my favorite stories ever. Like you're writing for me. You mentor me in marketing. Like you've helped me build my bloody website. Everyone here has all these wonderful like skills, and I
Yeah.
want to bring that together, and I want it to be in a way um, that makes sense. Um,
Right.
so you know, anyway, that's my big hope with that is that it sparks something huge.
Yeah. And it's, yeah, this is, there is indeed a fantastic community. It's funny because we all come from, everybody comes from different walks and different things, and everything, even just in terms of your experiences and who you are as a writer, and things like that. We had Molly pop in, right? And Molly's been through some stuff. So, if you're the type where you're writing characters and character dynamics, and you're writing a relationship between two characters, and you know that there's some trauma in the background and things like that, somebody you can reach out to. If it's editing stuff, if it's running something by somebody, like, or whatever else, like, we know all these people. And that's just a great way to go about it, to say, hey, like, can we just have a loose, and I like the idea of it as like a guild, where it's like just a loose collection of people and everything, where it's like, yeah, these are people we can lean on for something like this. If you need beta readers, you immediately know that you have a pile of people that you can trust that aren't just going
Yep.
to take your book and go splash it on some website in India or
Yep.
whatever. Like, things like that. And it's hard. Like, if and again, like if anybody needs, advice for anything, and I tell people all the time, like if you're starting a YouTube, if you're doing all this kind of stuff, if you look at my background, if you like the way I sound, if you like the way this looks and this works out, all you got to do is ask me. I mean, like I'm totally happy to help out anybody, in terms of like advice to get that going, even if it's just getting over your own bullshit to start. Honestly, because that's usually just the biggest hurdle out of all of it. But you are right. Like we need publicity help more than
Yep.
anything else. And even the key to that is doing things to reach outside of the circles that you have established yourself in. I'm at
Yep.
that point with Mirthquake where it's like, okay, I've got regulars, people that we see that are in here and in the chat. So now I've got to start thinking outside the box. And I already dropped my little hint on you as to what I got going on next, to expand that and get more viewers in here from other circles that are outside of writing,
Yep.
that are interested in fandom and nerddom and all those kinds of different things to just like get it going. So, totally awesome with all this kind of stuff. And yes, supremely excited to get the story down. I'm like, I'm setting a high bar in the way I'm talking about it, but like I'm really trying to dig deep on this one. Um, inspired by Dante's Inferno and a bunch of metal that I've listened to just kind of do something really wild and weird and probably without a happy ending, because like, why not? Um, you know, yeah, what's coming is awesome. And like we see that with Iron Age. I'm still not even clear on exactly what Iron Age like is. Is it mostly comic oriented? Like, is it mostly like, because I
I,
see like Iron Age creators, and like, but I think it means like a lot of different things, and
yeah,
it's not
it
organized.
does. It does, and it's not, and that's the beauty of it. I
Yeah,
think that Iron Age definitely at least has a strong tie to the comics. I don't know where it gets its origin,
yeah,
but I do think that that is for sure a big part of it. And I think that Iron Age, at least for me, when someone says Iron Age, it means that I'm trying to not do what mainstream is doing right now. That I'm
right.
trying to be part of, I don't want to say the counterculture because it's not that deep, but a return to the things that I loved, and that could be very personal. It doesn't have to be any specific thing. I think new pulp when I think Iron Age. I think we're
Okay,
not
yeah,
doing message fiction. We're not doing, you
right.
know, bright, shiny, happy. This is what millions and millions of people are going to want to spout as
Yeah,
their new favorite thing.
for
I'm
sure.
doing what entertains me, what makes me happy.
Yes.
And in that form, I think I'm an Iron Age creator. I write Conan-esque characters. I write these, badass ladies that carry guns and fight right in next to their dudes. And I don't do damsels. I don't do nonsense, but I try and make my women women and not dudes, that happen to have boobs. Like, and I feel like that's a really important distinction there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I feel like it's something that without going too deep politically, I think everybody, I won't say everybody, that's not true. I think a large portion of people, no matter what you believe, it's getting old. What we're
Yes.
doing right now in the United States is getting old.
Oh yeah.
What we're doing in entertainment is getting old.
Oh, it's been old.
Um,
Yeah.
Yeah, and so now it's like, okay, cool. And it's funny because you can go back to the old things that were old before what we're doing now was old, and it
Right.
works.
Yes.
Um, and so that's the whole the whole thing of just trying to make this not be the same thing we've been doing forever, to get good writing back, good storytelling back. I gave this rant in mini on a panel, but I was watching a video from Brandon Sanderson, and you should listen to Brandon Sanderson. He's one of the best commercial writers ever of all
Sure.
time. So marketing, anything like that, listen to the man but I can tell you the one thing that he's happened to just say in this viral short was like, yeah, some dude got on me because blow by blows are boring, and he's right, blow by blows are boring. Nope, I'm sorry. Blow by blow is not boring if you know what the hell you're doing and you're paying
Right.
attention.
Yeah.
There's plenty of I can point to my first story, Children of Fire. There's a huge knockdown drag out fight scene that's everybody in the room bar brawl style is going at it, and there's plenty of blow by blow, but
Mm.
you watch your pacing. You don't use a bunch of technical terms,
Right. Right.
like, and you can make blow by blow tell people about your characters. The
Absolutely.
way they attack someone else shows how they respect them. If they're throwing head kicks and they're not a taekwondo fighter, they don't respect the dude they're fighting.
Right.
you know it there's all how they were trained, where they come from, it all comes out in the fight, and if you paint that picture properly, it's going to be beautiful and extremely entertaining.
Yeah.
But that's another one of those modern, like, everybody tells you in your writing techniques, like, oh, don't say had, and don't use split infinitives, and don't do blow by blows. I was like, no, don't do the shit out of those things.
Right.
Don't do nothing but those things. Then it doesn't flow well. It's crappy. But if you're paying attention to all that stuff, if you're creating it well, it's gonna work.
Right. Right. I really like this. The new pulp is a good description. Lots of people starting from scratch, testing out what they love. Communities then form around what they enjoy. That's something that I preach all the time. In that you've got to create what you want to create, the way you want to do it. You write the story that you want to write. Everything else be damned, because the tribe that you're looking for will form around you. And writing for some tribe that's out there, um, because you either want approval from them or you're just looking to make sales. And look, like, if that's your hustle, cool. But I don't tend to feel like that's a way to just remain happy as a creative. But I think there's something to be said for attracting the people that are interested in what you're doing,
Yeah.
and bringing them to you just by being yourself and creating the things that you want to create. In terms of the fights, though, so like you have fight background, I have fight background.
Yeah.
um, and it's really funny, just the way you said, like, it can tell something about your character. There's a real quick fight scene that I have in Caretaker, and it's quick because they're on the run, and this totally comes from experience. And the way I just laid the scene out was, main character descends down a stairwell, somebody's right there that he has to deal with, and the first thing he notices is that there's a leg that's forward, a prone leg, and so he gives it the shin kick, buckles it backwards, dude throws up, and it's like, off we go.
Yeah.
Done, 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 quick, 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 hit it, describe it. The dude's throwing up, like, all that kind of stuff, because that is something that actually naturally happens if you end up with one of your legs looking like, the way an ostrich walks around. Um, so I'm just saying,
Yeah.
but I've had comments on that book in terms of the fight scenes were really snappy, quick, and sharp. And then I had one bad review that was like, no, they were mushy and boring. Like, you can't make everybody happy. But I'm describing this the way I know of it from my experience. You describe things the way you know it from your experience. And as long as you're not dwelling on it, and it says a lot about, in that scene's deliberately written that way to say a lot about my character, and the duress that he was under, because he had to move fast. He had spent, he'd been alive for 120 years at this point, so he'd had training, and all those different things. He knew what the vulnerable spot was, hit it, move along, right?
Yeah.
And
Hammer it and
that
go.
does it says something about their decisions in terms of fight scenes and snappy things like that, tell you a lot about the character. Like, if he's the one that just pins somebody to the ground and then shoves the thumbs through the eyeballs, well, you at least know something about the character at that
Yeah.
point. That, like, it doesn't matter. Anything's a weapon and anything's vulnerable spot. Even kicking somebody in the groin, man, it's a legit target.
Yeah.
You're not like less of a fighter because you nail somebody in the twig and berries. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If anything, you're just smart because, like, what are they doing? Just having them dangling out with their legs open like that.
Yeah. I mean, George St. Pierre won a welterweight belt off of it. So
Right. There
yeah.
you go.
Uh, yeah. There's some
That's
MMA
crazy.
fan right now that's really mad at me about that, but I watched the fight live. I know what happened. That's
Yeah.
anyway.
That's good. That's
No,
good.
and that's but even what your example that you just brought up, like the whole like thumbs in the eyes thing, which is
Yep.
definitely a thing. Like it happened plenty of times in history.
Oh yeah.
But your character's attitude during that moment is as big a reveal about them as anything.
Right.
If your character is like that versus your character that's like like, there's like there's it's that process says something incredibly strong about who
Uh,
they are as a person. Like if this
yeah.
dude is literally gouging his thumbs through someone's eyes into their brain, and he's just like, yeah, it's Tuesday.
You know what? I see, like,
Yeah,
I'm picturing Arnold Schwarzenegger in, like, some cheesy movie, right? Like Commando, and he does it, and then he gets up and he just says, "Suck it to me." You know, like something really
yeah,
stupid,
something,
like
yeah, some
it's
bad
like
one
an
liner.
eyeball pun or something,
Yeah,
and then just, like, walks off and wipes his thumbs on his
bet he didn't see that's coming.
There you go.
Yeah,
Brilliant. He was my pupil.
yeah,
Yeah, no, you could go on for for hours on this kind of nonsense, but it
yeah,
does, like, but look, that's why Arnold in, what happened to Sully? Oh, I let him go. Like in Commando.
yeah.
Like it was the dumbest line ever, but I'm like, man, that was actually kind of cool. Like, well, at least I know. Like,
Hey,
I
hey,
know.
Matrix. Remember, you said you were gonna kill me last. I
I
lied.
lied. It's so terrible. And why did the other guy, like the big bad, why was he wearing a yarn vest? Like, I just don't understand the yarn. It wasn't
I
chainmail. Everything about that was really stupid. And
yeah,
if you watch, like, when he assaults the compound at the end, and you see them, like, all we'll call them mooks, right? All running, like, just like the
yep,
random dudes that are just there to die. If you see,
yeah,
like, they have rifles on
mooks.
their backs, and the rifles, they're all rubber. They all swing like this as they're all run. Oh, it's fantastic. There you go. There's another
And
one. I see what you did there.
yeah,
Stop.
and that's
Oh, that's good.
and that's the thing is like I love that era and those
It's not
movies.
it's not
It's
disrespect,
like,
man. This is a
it's
tribute to how
yeah.
much we love the friggin' movie.
I I
Yeah,
I love that era and those. I'm quoting the movie like off the rip, man. Like I
right.
know the movie, yeah, and same thing with Conan or
For
any
sure.
Rambo or
Oh,
nothing
yeah.
is over. Like it's
Right?
like I love those movies and they inspired me for a love of action.
Yes.
But
Yep.
man, I write specifically to not be that guy anymore. If
Yes.
that like as much as I love that, that's the hokey, corny, firing off the hip.
Uh,
What are sights? You
yeah.
know, like it's Predator. The feeling, the move, the mood, the feeling, the atmospherics, the
Yes.
cinematography, all that of Predator makes this amazing, beautiful story. Billy like pulling his knife and drawing blood and standing out there waiting on
Yep.
the Predator. Like
Yeah,
I
yeah.
love those things, and
That
there's
was
a time and
badass
place
for
for
sure.
those.
Yep.
Um, Dead Wolf, which starts the Midnight Sea and is the story Phil edited for me, has a knife duel, but it
Mm,
has a knife duel for a very specific purpose.
right.
And it's much more than a knife duel, and it's specifically because of the social dynamics of the moment. Like I try really hard to not have these things be like they were, to be more a part of the John Wick and Extraction era,
Yep.
where we know bullets, go in magazines, magazines go in guns, and there's only so many of them at one time.
Yeah.
As much as
Right.
I love Tombstone and draw from it all the time, double barrels don't fire three times.
It's good. That's
Like
right.
And that's God. Every time it happens at the gunfight at the OK Corral, it makes me cringe. Like
Yeah.
the one of the best gunfighter characters ever written, and y'all had him shoot a double barrel 3 times.
You know,
Like,
I'm starting to think that like I'm starting to see another project on my horizon that's just like, you know, space pew pew, but like commando pew pew, like with all the tropes and all the
uh-huh.
ridiculous, like, you know, he loads like this is the clip for my shotgun, you know, or whatever. Like all that kind of ridiculous, tying the grenades on by the pins because like that's really smart too.
Yep.
Just all terrible one-liners. Everyone's indestructible, and ammo never runs out. I
No.
mean, I'm here for it, man. Like it's all good stuff. But I see what I get what you're saying here, just in terms of like there's a place for that, and there's an
The secret third barrel.
there's inspiration for that.
But little
Uh,
did they know another barrel was forward.
Another barrel. I screwed it on and uh for crying out loud, man.
They do make a triple barrel shotgun, but that was
Quintuple
not.
barrel shotgun. It's
There
gonna
was they.
it's yeah. Yeah, it's gonna be it's made by High Point. High Point makes a quintuple barreled shotgun with a clip. You can-
Yeah, it's the queeter, the quad yeeter.
oh man, that's good. So all right, we've got the action influence of yours squared away for
Yeah.
sure. But I want to the chickening. Look, that short story, I'm writing it. I have the whole thing for it and everything for boom, boom bok bok boom. Um, but I do want to talk just a little bit about the inspiration for the Holy Diver thing and
Sure.
where. So just from the creative standpoint, when did that idea just kind of bounce into your head? How did that happen? What did it look like to take, I have a thing that just like got my attention to, all right, now I need to establish a universe. Now I kind of need a universe Bible. Now I kind of need this. And now I want to bring other people into it. So what is that? What did that process look like for you from start to finish?
Um. So I was born in the middle of March. No. Anyway. Uh. In all seriousness though, my origins of storytelling go back to me being very young. My best friend, who I call my brother, Cam. Cam would come over and stay the night. Mom would put a movie on. Once the movie was over, we had to go to bed, but we weren't always ready to go to bed.
For sure.
So
Yeah.
we tell stories because if you turn the TV back on, you're in trouble, and there's nothing else to do
Yeah.
when you're just laying there trying to fade off to sleep. So we would just make stuff up, just make stories up. And I pick up heavy metal from a really early age. The very
Okay.
first CD I ever purchased with my own money was a copy of the Black Album,
Oh,
and it was
nice.
and that's because I have mom's copy, but she would want it back, and I would listen to it so much that I needed my own copy.
Right.
Um, And, don't get me wrong, I still was swept up in the poppy crap of the day at that age. I'm 8, cut me some slack. You know what I mean? Like
All good. Yep.
I know all the Backstreet Boys lyrics. Like I'm still part of that generation. Like, but
Right.
metal even then was attractive to me.
Sometimes you just want it that
Uh,
way, buddy. It's okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it was my fire.
Yep.
Um, and but there's certain lines that have always jumped out to me. um, or solos or choruses that just punch. And trapped under ice on off of Ride the Lightning. It's another Metallica song. If you've never
Mhm.
heard it, for the love of God, as soon as you're done listening to me, go listen to it.
Yep.
But there's this one refrain in the song that only happens twice, and it's a shame. And it's scream for my soul, fate mystified, hell forevermore. And when you listen to it, the melody, the choruses, it paints this beautiful image, at least
Mm.
in my head, of this cold, frozen expanse And under the ice where the water is, there's this man who's trapped.
Mhm.
Um, and I have struggled for the feelings that are inside during the solo to Fade to Black,
Yeah.
or Trapped Under Ice, or bunches of other songs. The way Kubla Khan's like Darwinism, literally the lines "put your skull through the wall," like the aggression and feeling that it paints.
Mm.
I always struggle to carry those over into my stories. Like there's
Sure.
always some line that that I hear that pumps that through me,
Sure.
and
Yep.
I'll hear those things and go, I gotta run with that. Or there will be lyrics, and I'll just like, I gotta run with that lyric, and I have to paint the story around this. So when you start putting those together, I'm a dungeon master from a very early age. I started playing D&D at 13, 3.0. I was playing at the comic shops. Older people were sweet enough to let me play in their games and run, playing with strangers. Started
Mhm.
running games for everybody. That evolved into Shadowrun, everything like that. And
Nice.
Shadowrun
Yeah,
has
yep.
this idea that you take the magic and the cyberpunk and they smack them together,
Yep.
and you have dudes that can channel magic through their bodies, or you've got these like wired up street samurai and all that too, right? So i I loved playing with those concepts, and I did characters for Shadowrun that were knights, that were I literally had a character named Achilles.
Mm.
My Shadowrun campaign went to the underworld. It went through the literal hero's journey.
Right.
And there's things when you start studying mythology that you see that there are common themes. So if you listen to sailors' tales, there's this thing called the green flash. And the green flash is this thing that happens at dawn and dusk where there's this flash of green on the horizon. But it's said that the green flash just kidnaps people,
Mm.
that they just disappear.
Right.
And ships go over the horizon into the green flash and they never return. That's a Bermuda Triangle kind of thing.
Yeah, 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 for sure.
We got the Bermuda Triangle, the green flash, we got the river Styx. We have all these waterways, and they all lead to some mystic realm. Nirvana has a river that flows to it. The Garden of
Mm.
Eden. It's said that Adam and Eve may have had to have taken a waterway out of fleeing the Garden of Eden when they were banished by God. Um, there's all kinds of these mythos and these stories that they all take the water, and the water transports you not just to another place on the planet,
Right.
but somewhere that we can no longer reach.
Right.
So I had always loved that idea. So I love the metal. I love the tabletop role playing games, the mixing of science fiction and fantasy. I love all of these things. And I'm sitting at Liberty, at
Mhm.
LibertyCon,
Yep.
and I've just met Hensley for the first time,
Yeah, yeah,
and we're doing karaoke.
yeah.
Uh, and we're
What
doing
song?
karaoke,
What
and
song?
well, give me a minute. Give me a
All
minute.
right, all right, yep.
So, Hillbilly brings his brood up, and they do Diggy Diggy Hole, which is awesome. If you've never heard
Okay.
Windrose, that's another one everybody needs to add to their list. But I, I, I feel like I've been blessed enough to have a decent voice, and one of my favorite songs to do is, oh God, why am I drawing such a blank? I like doing Dio. Um,
Okay.
Tim, I made it. Let's start over.
Let's do it. All
Uh,
right.
I like doing Dio, and I like doing Rainbow in the Dark. There we go. My brain's back on track. So
Okay.
I
Yeah,
love
yeah.
doing Rainbow in the Dark. I've sang that song in the car on the way to pick up my son or whatever 8 bajillion times. So I can at least say I'm consistent, right?
Right, right.
I
Yep.
can't say I'm Dio, but I'm
Yeah,
consistent.
yeah, yeah, for sure.
And so that's one of my go-to karaoke songs. If I'm warmed up, if I'm feeling okay, I'm gonna do Rainbow in the Dark. And it's funny because not a lot of people know the song, despite it being frickin' Roddy James Dio. But anyway, point being,
Right.
so I did Rainbow in the Dark, and Hensley's a big classic metal fan, and he looks at me and he's like, hey, Jess, that wasn't bad. Which if I'm doing Dio and you say that wasn't bad, I'm good enough. Like, it's okay.
For sure. Yep.
So um, all in all, what it ends up being is I've got, all of my storytelling stuff going on, and I'm trying to figure out, like, I'm in this really weird spot because I'm a pro now, but being a pro brings this massive pressure. And it's like, man, like, I really got to produce now. And if I really want to do this for real, if I want this to pay the bills, if I don't want to just be another, 5 grand a year author, if I want to be somebody that can for real say, no, this is what I do. This is what I was
Yep.
meant to do, which I believe I was. Um, I've got to step up.
Mhm.
And so it's like, okay, what do I love and what can I do that I haven't really seen much of?
Sure. Yep.
And what that led to was like, well, I don't see a lot of metal in writing. Molly, if Molly's still around, Molly did a review of like a death metal bard book, which I
Yeah,
thought
yeah,
was
yeah.
really cool.
It
Now,
looked
this
re
was
yeah,
just
that looked
recently, but
really
it,
cool.
it
Yep.
looks really cool. But you don't see a lot of that. And I know that there's people that love the kind of like, let's get a group of goofballs together and let's go do stuff.
Yep.
Um, and that is a very tabletop RPG thing. So, I've just got done singing this Dio song. I'm hanging out with all these other writers, and I'm thinking like, wait a minute. And that light bulb click moment. I'm sorry it took 20 minutes to get to the light bulb, but I wanted it all to make sense.
No, I hear you.
And the light bulb moment clicks, and it's like, wait a minute, timeout. I have seen people do the bar at the center of the universe.
Mhm.
And I have seen people do, um, oh, there's multiverse, blah 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 blah. Way too much of
Oh,
that
yeah.
BS
Yep.
going on right
A
now.
lot of multiverse going on for sure.
But
A
yeah, yes,
fellowship.
JL, a fellowship. Yes, that may have something to do with it. Um, anyway, I've seen people do all this, but this idea started forming of this very metal influenced Shadowrunny tabletop, pulling from all the genres,
Sure.
shared universe where we could all come in and I could design this in a way that it wouldn't stop anybody from really being able to do what they wanted to do. And I started turning the pieces over and I looked at a couple of y'all. I think you might have been on that list, but I looked at
Mm,
several of my fellow authors and said, hey, what do you think about this concept? And most of them
okay.
went, that sounds awesome. So then I came
Mm,
home and I did the dungeon master thing, and this ended up being the invitation that I sent out to you and others. Was I sat down and wrote a second person? Don't one of you MFers do this for a book? Dude, second person is not it. Unless you're writing choose your own adventure, do not
person
do that
future tense.
nonsense.
Yeah, no, I was
Yeah,
talking to Tim about this one.
yeah,
Second person future tense. It's the new
yeah.
thing.
Don't, no, don't do it. Don't do it. If you do it, don't tell anybody. If you do it and think it's
Uh,
the best thing ever, show one person and let them hit you with a spoon. Um,
right.
but I wrote a a dungeon master's entry taking people to the Holy Diver, and I
Okay, yep.
sent that out. And I sent that out as the intro for everybody and said, here's my project. Here's what I want to do. Here's the only 5 or 6 essential pieces. Everything else is for you to run with.
Right.
And that's it. That's how we got
That's how
where
we
we
got
are
where
so
we are.
far. Yeah.
You know, this the whole water thing is fascinating to me because I do like that whole like the whole like transported by water idea. Um
Mhm.
you see a little bit of that, like the little hint of that in Constantine is one of my favorite bits about it, where he's got to put his feet in the water, he dips her in the bathtub, like and all that kind of stuff. But now you've got me rethinking my character's introduction in my like I think I may have to have my character like to go visit to visit the bar. He's got to just like get himself into like a log flume at like the Hoboken Splashtown, USA, and just like through the tunnel, and then all of a sudden like he didn't come out the other end. Like, where is this dude? Like what? So the log flume entry, and then he just like lands on the beach in like a big like resin log, like plasticky looking thing with like holding his picture that like they make you take for $30 or whatever.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, yeah. There's ways to do that. Getting all kinds of ideas for this sort of stuff because like we're talking about you're talking about the different songs and the music and stuff like that, and then we're talking boy bands, and I'm like, has like we've got this kind of thing. Has anybody ever done a thing where it's like a kind of like a washed up late 90s, early 2000s boy band, but like they use their songs and dances to actually do like demon slaying on the down low, Like so they're like kind of has-beens and like a little bit older, but like I don't know, I'm seeing like a whole like hexes and harmonies kind of thing going on. I think there might be something there.
Yeah.
Yeah, like super cheesy, like pop song. They still have like, the ladies that go to the concerts and scream all the lyrics, but then like they have to go backstage and they got to go summon demon and kill it and stuff.
Yeah.
There could be
Yeah.
there
All
could be
the
something there. Look,
40-year-old 40-year-old singer moms throwing bras.
I was just
Yeah.
saying, yeah, sure. You're there with
Yeah.
your daughter, sure. Yeah, we know who bought the tickets and why. We get it. Yeah,
Hey man,
splash, yeah.
Holy Diver round 2.
See, there you go. Yeah. Oh man, I cannot help myself to not inject something really absurd. I try not to for some stuff. It's just the way it works. But no, this is cool, and just to hear the genesis of the idea, and a lot of it for a lot of people and a lot of authors that I talk to, it comes from a lot of it comes from gaming, a lot of it comes from D&D, a lot of it comes from just that storytelling, aspect of it, because so many of us did that. We're in such a different time now where everything is just very splintered and fractured. Games aren't quite what games used to be.
Yeah.
Tabletop gaming is it just like year after year it just becomes more of a niche thing. And certainly like this is what it's funny because I had this realization. I'm a little bit older, right? I'm hitting the big
Yeah.
50 this year, and my son, my oldest, he's 22. And when like as he's growing up, and I've always been a gamer, right? Since a super teeny tiny 5 years old, like I was a gamer. My dad had one of the very first consoles like ever made out for the public. It was called a Fairchild Channel F. And it was just like it's just always been ever present in the house with computers, a 286, and then I'm doing like Forgotten Realms stuff and everything else. Just it's ingrained into the DNA. But then I saw him and I'm like, I'm playing games like Skyrim or whatever else, Oblivion, where it's like it's expansive world, it's open world, you can do whatever the hell you want, you can levitate, you can float, you can shoot arrows, you can kill things, all this kind of stuff. And he wants to play this stuff that just looks really stupid and simple because it was just fun to play. And it it brings me back to that, there's always room for something like tabletop gaming.
Yeah.
There's always room for silly one-off games. I mean, Minecraft does not have good graphics,
No.
but it's the most downloaded and played game like ever. But for a reason, and that reason is the creativity that it brings. I mean, shoot, like my youngest built like he's building a computer in Minecraft for crying out loud.
Yeah.
With just like binary switches and redstone and the whole thing. And I'm like, this is just like really kind of wild that we have all these things and that we can be influenced by all of these things in one way or another, but it's very fractured these days where people don't have the same things that they get into anymore. And so that leaves a ton of room for storytelling though,
Yep.
because you can go
Absolutely.
any direction and you can go anywhere with it. And there's going to be an audience and people just want to be entertained. It's not like there's definitely, and you touched on this, and I'm not sitting here trying to get political either, but at the same time, it's undeniable that there was a turn that happened in traditional publishing a few years back
Yep.
where things became the the prose didn't matter, the characters didn't matter, provided they were of checking off certain boxes. We'll say it that way
Yeah.
to be polite, right? And if you checked off those boxes, either as the author, well, as the author and as your characters, you're going to have your table at Barnes and Noble. And if you're not checking off those, and if you're not doing, if you are doing things where you've got, a female character that is strong and feminine, and the guy, maybe the guy does save her in your story, your book's not getting on that table in Barnes and Noble. So, but there's the audience for those stories has not gone anywhere. We're just not seeing the material. And I think that's part of the reason why the indie space has really taken off and continues to do so, because people are creating the things that they want to see. They're creating cool original stuff with original worlds, like you've got these ideas for. And it's like, all right, now we can go and we can freely express and explore and do all these kinds of things. And we know there's a bunch of people that still love this stuff and that want to read it. And there is a market for it. It's just a matter of reaching those people more than anything else. So on that, let me ask you about just the marketing angle for this kind of stuff and for the things that you want to do, whether it's the heavy metal guild, or whether it's Iron AG or anything like that. What does that landscape look like to you in terms of getting these words out there to people?
The struggle. That's the struggle. Yeah. That's a struggle. Like I rapidly realized when I finally got like to the point where I was producing published level material, that was worth something. You know what I mean? Like, and what I mean by that is like I've been able to craft good stories for a long time, but there's a difference between good stories and truly good writing. Like it's a skill craft thing. Like you can be a good storyteller naturally. I feel like I have a little bit of that gift, but at the same time, when you go to put it on the page for the first time, if you tell a story the way that me and you were talking here right now, you lose a lot of people.
Sure.
The example I give is a gunfight. If I write a gunfight on the page with the dialogue a actual gunfight has, that I've watched thousands of hours of footage, and I can interview my brother and all his friends about, and I've talked to Green Berets about. There's so many fucks on that page that you lose almost everyone.
Yeah.
Because it's just get that effing gun up, get the F over here, kill that effing guy. I need suppressive fire right effing there, but it's incessant. And even for people like me that I have a whole family that cusses like sailors, there's just something about the art on the page that doesn't come through that way, right? You have to do it different. So I can tell that story, me and you BS and sitting around, I can tell it to a group of 55 people of my martial arts students. And if it's me talking, nobody, once they know, okay, Jesse cusses, it keeps moving. Like nobody worries about it.
Yeah.
But you lose your audience on the page.
Yep.
And so you have to develop that art, the craft part of writing. Like you have to work on that. So from the moment I started producing that level, it was like, okay, cool. I have finally achieved the coveted gold star where I've got my black belt in writing now. You know what I mean? Which for people that don't know, a black belt does not mean you're a super badass. The black belt means that
you're just getting started.
You're just getting started. A black belt means I am not an idiot anymore and I can actually do this. Whether or not you get the shit kicked out of you is going to depend on how many more black belts the dude you run into has to, or the dude who's a white belt but is twice your size and has done nothing but fight his brothers his whole life. That dude will still beat your ass. Anyway, my point being is that I just gotten to the point where it's like, okay, cool. I'm worth publishing. I'm publishing. And that's why I wanted a publisher is, hey, and I have more than one now, is, hey, I don't want to have to be a publicist. I don't want to have to do all this stuff. But I can tell you that at least with small publishers, I don't think it makes much of a difference. I don't think they're really able to carry. I think that's the struggle. Yeah. So we talk about the marketing aspect of it. Organic social, and I'm not spilling any beans on this, organic socials either total happenstance or dead at this point.
Mm.
You just get lucky. Somebody picks something up, it goes viral, the algorithm likes this weird frigging combination of what you're doing.
For sure.
Which is generally something really stupid that everybody sends to their buddies because it makes them laugh,
Yeah, for sure.
which doesn't help an author. Um,
Right.
so I'm gonna be real. I'm not a marketing guru. I don't know how these things work, and that's part of what I wanted to do with this guild.
Yeah.
Is the little bit of guild fees, which would be way less than half of your work.
Right.
But the whole purpose of the guild is to give us a commonplace market where everybody in the guild works cheap. So instead of having to pay $1,000 for an editor, I might charge $1,000 for somebody not in the guild. But you show me that guild sticker, and I'm working for a quarter of that because
Mm.
you're in the guild.
Yeah.
And at the same time, the guild serves as the publisher stamp. You just stamp it right on the back. And this is a mark of quality. And this mark says, I am a part of this group. We produce quality work. We
Yep.
work as a family. And the little bit of guild fees that you do pay or whatever is going on, that is specifically for publicists, specifically for marketing.
Right.
And I
Right.
take all that, or the person I hire, the CPA, because I'm not getting involved in that.
Yeah.
They take all that, the whatever the legal off, like the licensed financial advisor, whatever.
Yeah.
The person who's properly qualified to do this takes all those guild funds and pumps the guild and its authors, and you get
Yeah.
guest spots, and you get, like, hey, here's all our new releases this week. Come check us out. This is what we do, and it makes the
Right.
guild beneficial in a way I feel most publishers, maybe even big publishers, are kind of lacking right now. Because if you're
Right.
not Tor or Random House or Bane
Yeah.
right now, nobody cares.
Yeah. No, of
Uh,
course not.
and so that's what I wanted to do with that,
If
and
you
that's
if
how
you
I
are
see that
Penguin or
changing the landscape.
HarperCollins, like
Yeah,
if you're Penguin or HarperCollins, just still nobody cares.
yeah,
I mean, shoot, my debut novel has sold more than just about like any random author signing with a big five. That's just the way it goes. People, you
yeah,
hear these stories constantly. People sign the trad publishing contract and they're like, well, I sold 24 copies. And like, okay, maybe you hop into a bookstore and you see your book on the shelf, like 2 copies. Nobody's buying it. Like they're not spending marketing money on you.
yeah,
You're not anything. And so, if you have to do this, we can definitely get into like the indie publishing scene and self-publishing and all that. But if you have to do all this marketing anyway, you you need to be able to set yourself up so you're able to do something. The more skills you have in this area, the better you are as an author, but also the less valuable you make some of the smaller publishers in a way, because you're able to do things that surpass what that publisher is able to do for you. They can't amplify your skills if you've got a ton of
mhm,
skills, because you're already there. And things like that, just having an email list, stuff like that, so you're not just beholden to your account being shut down on Facebook because you called somebody a such and such and a so and so or whatever.
yeah.
There's
Or
there's
you give away a free book.
no, you
Knock
gotta
off,
get
Tim.
Tim.
Tim,
You run a promo, Tim.
Tim,
The
how
Tim bot.
dare you?
Yeah, exactly. Ay, 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 man. You just never know. But then on the flip side, look at what just happened with the whole whatever it was, science fiction, something or other. I forget what the
The self,
acronym.
yeah, and Devin,
Look,
yeah,
and
but man, fuck
Devin
them people.
Devin
Like,
sold his book. He sold his book like wildfire after that, right?
yeah,
The same thing happened with Zach Forbes, who was on here just a few weeks ago. And he's like, "I'm pulling my book." He sent me a message. He's like, "I think this is the right thing to do. Like, can you just read my statement real quick and tell me, like, does this look good?" And I was like, "Yeah, dude, you're doing the right thing." And you know what? Even though you're pulling yourself from a competition where you were up for an indie award, you're going to get more fans, more friends, and more sales by saying, I'm not going to be a part of this. And sure enough, that's what happens.
Yeah.
Because people are sick of the way things are working in a lot of ways. In terms of the marketing stuff, man, it is really tricky. It is really, really tricky just to try and establish yourself. And there are some who call me Tim.
Tim.
There you go. Right, Zach, you're right there. I didn't write the bad Mike guy thing threw me off, man. Exactly. Right. Like 235 sales this week because people are just like, well, shoot, this is a good dude. He did the right thing, and like, how awesome is that you get the support from the community? Like all of this support is out there. It's just finding it. Now, obviously we don't want to have like competition meltdowns left and right just in order for some people to get some sales. Like there's better ways, but these kinds of things go on. And if you're in this space and you're getting known by people and you start making the right decisions and you show yourself to be just a stand-up person that's doing the right thing, people will see it. People will recognize it. People will hitch onto your wagon and be like, you know what? I'm just going to buy everything this dude does because he's a good dude. And I think there's a lot to be said for that. When you're inauthentic on the internet, everyone sniffs it.
Yeah.
It's the fastest way to just to gain all of the haters, to be thrown under the bus, made fun of, and made an example of. And likewise, if the mob comes after you because they want to cancel you for the things that you think or say on a platform that they have nothing to do with, well, you need to remember the one thing, which is you cannot be canceled unless you consent to it.
Yep.
You have every right to tell everybody to go fuck themselves. Like, you can do that.
Well,
There's nothing stopping you.
Since I know we try to have fun, right? And like, but I'm going to be real with any writer out there, and probably most creatives. Your work is the last thing you get judged on.
Yeah.
Everyone else is looking at everything else first. Like I have people, and I love them, that have maybe read 2 paragraphs of my work that recommend me.
Mm-hmm.
But they recommend me because they saw the way I talk, they saw the way I could explain things, they saw the everything else that was going on.
The passion's there. Absolutely.
If I can drop a list of 15 names, and it's if these people have actually read an entire one of my 10,000 word short stories, I'll eat my shorts. Like it's. And the fact of the matter is, well, because I know I won't have to. I know and don't get me wrong, there are people that actually read my stuff, that have actually read my stuff or read my proposals and know, like, okay, Jesse lays solid words down on the page.
Absolutely.
But when someone buys your work, I'm not even talking about fellow authors or anything anymore. I'm talking about just like the consumer experience.
Right.
Your words are the last thing. That's the end of it. They hand you money before they ever read more than your back cover.
Yep.
So they're buying you based off of your, God, I hate to use the word brand, but it's the truth. Your brand.
It's true. Yeah.
Who knows you, who recommends you, what you're saying online, what your pretty cover art looks like. Any of those things are factored in ever before your skill comes in. And the fact of the matter is the skill bar is not that bad. And don't get me wrong, you need to be a good writer, but you don't have to be the next William Shakespeare. Like you don't have to be that. You can be just
also, please don't try. Please don't try.
but that's the point I'm trying to make, is everybody's looking at everything else, and so you being authentic, you being you, and somebody's going to be mad about something either way.
Yeah,
somebody's always going to be mad about something, and if you're tame and boring, then you don't catch anybody anyway.
Here's the thing: they're not, look, if you're already off-putting to them because of an opinion you shared, they're not buying your work anyway.
No, I kill way too many people in my works for this people. If they're that squeamish,
it just doesn't. It doesn't matter. And if you're trying to be something you're not, and if you're trying to, especially if you're trying to fence sit. Like, it's hard to do that. And it's particularly in a climate that we're in now where everything is so polarized. It's difficult to be just like, I'm not going to offend anybody or anything or whatever else. Why do you think South Park's been on for 30 some odd years? Right? Because they offend everyone really well, equally. Like, they see the absurdity, they point it out. It's hysterical. Like, every time, so like, all right, we're going to do that, for crying out loud. Like, they have Timmy on the show. Like, they were like, you know what kind of a character we need? We need Timmy on the show.
We need Timmy.
And
we need little Timmy.
Timmy. Yeah, exactly. Like,
Come on.
and you think of that and you're like, oh my God, did they really just do that? And then the next thing you know, he's like everyone's favorite character.
Yeah.
It's like, well, this is just kind of brilliant. And are there people that are offended? Yes. Do they matter? No. Are they watching South Park anyway? Obviously not. Like, they don't care. Those people aren't going to be the people that don't like those kinds of jokes are not the people that are going to be reading my book either. So like, all right, I'm looking for the dudes that are down to read the absurd stuff that I'm writing and like just be cool with it. So like, again, that kind of goes back to finding your audience and being an authentic person, but also the purpose of this show is to let people get to know you.
Yeah.
Because that's why they're going to support you. You can sit here and talk about your magic system for an hour and everybody's going to be like, all right, cool. It's a magic system.
Yeah.
Now what?
Well, and I think that you'll like this example. Maybe it'll hit for the audience too. The fastest man I ever saw was over 80 years old. And I know that's going to sound crazy to a lot of people, but he was a Indonesian Silat master.
Oh, nice.
And he taught off of principle. And what that means is that he doesn't look at you, and a lot of martial arts instructors will look at you and they'll go, okay, cool. So you've got a right hand coming in, and off the right hand, you're going to slip out to the side. And then when you slip out to the side, you're going to throw the left hook.
Yep.
So that's a series of movements, right? But I'm not telling you why you're doing what you're doing. Now, I'm going to tell you the principle. The principle of that is that because it's coming in from the opponent's right hand, it's coming in on your left side. So that's you getting to the outside of the center line of your opponent, which is a principle. So get to your opponent's center line. For you to have power in your strikes, you must load your weight before you can move the weight to generate the power.
Right.
So load your weight and move it to generate the power. That's a principle.
Yeah.
Right. So this instructor gave no instructions on move this here, do that, do that. He'd go, okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to practice ripping and swimming. And he'd say, throw something at me. And he'd look at his uke, which is his demonstration partner. And he'd say, throw something at me. And he didn't care what it was. Front kick, side kick, punch, kick, elbow.
Doesn't matter. Yep.
Just throw something at him. And he would do the thing off of that thing. But this old man had been watching people punch at him for so long, the timing of the human body, the cues he could pick up on. And all of a sudden he was moving, and it was like lightning. And you hear crack, 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 and that dude's on the floor.
Yep.
And if you weren't trained, if you weren't ready for him, if you weren't staring at him, you wouldn't even know what he did. And it was some of the best classes I ever got because it let me figure it out myself.
Yeah.
So what I'm trying to say by saying all of this is that when you go to demonstrate yourself to someone, do not demonstrate these tiny little pieces of you.
Right.
Demonstrate your principle, your themes in your story. Well, what do I write about? I write about the fight. I love action. I pump the action. I try and make the action real. And I center that around martial tales and vengeance and heavy metal. And I'm not going to tell you, oh, yeah, I write a necromancer.
Yeah.
Like,
right.
Okay. So did 8,000 other people. Who gives a damn?
Yeah. No, I hear you. Look, I mean, I jokingly refer to when people are like, oh, what's space pew pew? What's that about? And I'm like, well, it's just dick jokes in space. But that's just me. That's just me being.
Yeah,
That's just me being on brand as a human. Like,
yeah.
obviously it's not 80,000 words that are just, you
Dick
know,
jokes in space.
right, with the occasional Uranus thrown in, but, um,
It's
you
only like
know, it
25,000 words of that.
so yeah, that's all. It's roughly 37% of the book. But like there's always more to it, and there's more through lines and themes and everything else. It's just that this is just the veneer that I decided to put on it. But we're all more than that. And being able to communicate that is actually really important too.
Mhm.
It's one of the hardest things that writers tend to write is the back blurb for their book,
Yep.
because now here you are, you've got to sell yourself, you got to condense it down, not give the spoilers, and pique some interest.
Yep.
That's not an easy task to do in a paragraph, when you just spent, however many months crying on your keyboard as you're trying to bang out words and being like, why can't I edit? And then you forgot to save the Word document one time, so you had to rewrite half a chapter and like all this kind of stuff. And then somebody's going to read this one paragraph and be like, eh, yeah, I'm all right. you know,
But
but
and
if they know
and
what
I
you've been through, like it's a little different. If they know
yeah.
who you are as a person, it's a little different. If they know where you come from, it's like there's more to it. There's more to it there.
I hate
Uh,
editing them, man. Like I know it's only one
it's got to
extra
be, yeah,
paragraph, but I every back blurb that's published that has my work in it, or every synopsis that I put before a short story.
right.
And I guarantee you the ones that are like about to come out, they're gonna have some kind of missing comma, or because it's like, man, I just did 30,000 words of this, and now I'm taking, like Melissa just said it, like, let me chisel this iceberg into a stunning ice cube
Yes,
and
yeah,
make sure the ice cube doesn't have any like wonky corners when I'm trying
right.
to bang this out, and I'm finally at the finish line, and I just want this to
Yes.
be done.
I'm gonna show
Yeah,
you this ice cube and hope you buy this iceberg.
yeah.
Like, please, is that okay? Yeah, I recently rewrote. Look, I get like, I tease it on Twitter and stuff like that, that I've got a new cover coming, and I had to rewrite the back part of it, and I'm like, well, like, I don't even know where to begin with all this kind of stuff, but like, if I can throw in the phrase "violent space capybara" and a Uranus joke, I'm like, I'm gonna call it a win. And just go from there, let the chips fall where they may, and that's that. Those are hard things to do, but that again, that all comes down to the marketing aspect of things. Now, let me ask you, in terms of editing, what are you learning right now that you didn't learn before you started like really digging into the editing thing?
Um, so I'm really starting to see the stark contrast between work, not just as a reader, but as an editor.
Hmm,
Which, like, uh, it's a different thing. It's a different mode of reading,
okay, yep,
and it's not just that, but like, there's things that you learn in school, and I did well in school, but that you just kind of do the condensed version of, right? So I'm an Oxford comma guy.
yep,
Um, but an Oxford comma to me translated 90% of the time to I'm putting that comma before I say and then I'm writing whatever else happens.
yeah,
That's not the language rule. You
sure,
could say I ducked and rolled. Or I was coming around the corner when I heard the twang of a bowstring and I ducked and rolled.
right,
And the rules actually has some complications for that because if you're just doing a quick list, you don't use the Oxford comma.
hmm,
If you have a whole ass another sentence behind that that's
right,
when you need your Oxford comma.
yeah,
So I'm getting to see how it feels not only to have to know those grammar rules a lot more spot on, and I do
yep,
some cheating. Like that's what that's what grammar checkers for. Like I don't have to
yep.
do this all by myself.
No,
Um,
it's not you in a paper copy of the Chicago Manual of Style. I get it.
yeah,
Yeah.
no, yeah. Though I've had to do some looking up. I've had to
Yep.
double check myself because I've been looking at stuff and being like that.
Yeah.
Well, but it's not. Nobody's gonna notice. And I was like, nah, that shit don't look wait, hold on. Like you know,
Through the book.
but on top of that, um, and then that's another thing is style. Like some people,
Yeah.
like Jacqueline just said, like I like that pause,
Yeah, I
and
write it
so
stylistically too. Yep.
yeah, so there's some people that like there's all kinds of stuff that's just a straight style thing. I write long sentences. That's part of my style. It always has been, and so
Mhm.
I had to be nitpicky about some of that stuff, and sometimes I had to tell people, look, I don't care, screw it.
Yeah.
Um, and but not only that, it's a whole new level of considering the craft because now I have someone else's baby. It's
Mm.
not just my baby anymore. Somebody else handed me their baby and said, please help me make my baby healthier.
Right. Right.
And I don't know how most people feel about it when they're more used to it, but I'm doing the Holy Diver and I'm doing, this other project and I'm helping some friends with beta reading. And that's my experience.
Right.
Uh, and so for me, like, it's like, whoo, like that's it's another, like, I'm a pro now moment. Like, okay, I'm
Yeah.
doing this for real. This is getting published. I'm holding some other pro's professional story. Some of these
Yes.
writers are better than me, like, and
Mm.
have more experience than me. Like, even if they're not better than me, they have proved themselves more.
Yeah. Yeah.
And now I'm going to look at them and tell them you need to change your baby.
Right.
Uh, that's a big thing, and
Yeah,
it's
that
the
is a
same
big thing.
thing I ran into when I was like, okay, I'm a pro now. Like I have an obligation to perform that did not exist.
Right.
I owe these people my best. If I'm
Yes. Yep.
sleepy, pissed off, if my head isn't in the game,
Yeah.
I have to close the dock. So like I was working, on my own stories. I'd work till 1. It's whatever. Clickety clack, clap, clap, click, click, clap, clap. Just keep it pushing. And there's times where I'd
Mhm.
be like, man, I'm tired of shit, but I'm finishing this chapter. I
Yeah,
don't
of
do that.
course.
I won't do that with editing. I
No,
refuse.
no.
If
Yeah.
I've got somebody else's baby in my hands, I have to be at the wheel 100% ready to go.
I'm
Um,
exhausted, but I guess I'll disarm this bomb.
yeah,
Yeah.
no,
Yeah.
I'm not doing it.
Right. I'm colorblind, but red wire, green wire,
But yeah,
but
there's a red wire. It was just funny
it
because
doesn't it doesn't count.
I'm red green. I am red green colorblind. So like
Oh, see, there
that's
you go.
hilarious.
Uh,
But yeah, yeah. I'm not gonna double check this color. And that's another reason. Like I gotta. Where's my great aunt was super nice and got me this gigantic ass thesaurus.
oh, nice. Oh, Roger for the win.
Yeah. Um.
Rockets the
Yep.
thesaurus.
Yep. Rocket's the second.
Yeah. Yeah. What kind of a
So.
dinosaur is a thesaurus? Um, and you know what? Jax, I know you corrected yourself, but I like the way this reads better. I like the pause of a coma, even if it's not necessary. I too like to slip in a coma just for some rest.
Yeah.
I think it's fantastic. Yeah. And yeah, like look, that voice is really important to establish. And I think that's Jesse, that's probably something that you see and you come across, which is
Mhm.
authors that people that and you'll see this when I get you my story for Holy Diver too.
Yeah.
You're going to sense that style, and
Yeah.
you'll see that, and making sure that you honor, you've got to edit, but you've got to honor that author's voice at the same time. You're not trying to
Yeah.
change the way they sound. That's got to be really tricky. Just to be able to put the
And
polish on it without changing, how the author's doing it. And obviously, I mean, look, I've been edited numerous times by now, and I do find myself going through the edits and being like, I want it to say what I wrote.
yeah.
Like that's what I'm saying. Because that is my style, and maybe this edit doesn't quite get there. And like
Yeah.
it happens with every project. But that's just normal and natural. It's like we as creatives and as artists, like, and I suppose with somebody who's a little bit newer, doesn't have many stories out, or doesn't have, hasn't been published, or whatever else, that they're just nervous enough that just like somebody's editing it, I just have to accept all the edits that they do.
No, hell
Um,
no.
which
It's
is
the
not,
editor. No, tell me to go screw myself.
Right, exactly.
If that's part of your style. Um,
Right.
my very first professional editing experience was Phil, if he's still in here,
Mm.
and I told Phil, I was like, "Hey man, like 99% of this is accepting, but I put a Coyote and Roadrunner joke in there, and Phil wanted to take it out, and I was like, I'm not getting rid of that
Yeah.
Looney Tunes joke. Like it's just it's not happening. Like I'm leaving it."
Right.
And the same thing goes with me or any other editor.
Mm.
You need to read it. You need to chew on it. Take a day if you're really, especially if you're really butthurt about it. Take a day.
Yeah.
Um, Take a day, look it over, because there was a couple things that's like, I don't know why this edit's here. But then I took a little bit of time, I picked it over and then I thought like, no, he's right. But you should feel that way. You should look
Right.
at it and feel that way about any edit, any individual edit that your pros are giving you. And if
Right.
you don't understand why, you can ask.
Right.
Um, And then, like you were talking about, Mallory brought it up. I'm editing. It came uh, it came from the trailer park, and I'm having to
Hmm.
edit my own. It came from the trailer park, and this is all dialectic because it's redneck, generally Southern.
Yeah, oh,
So
absolutely.
when you hit the dialogue and everybody talking like this, man, everybody don't make a damn lick of sense. What are you talking about? Uh,
Uh,
shit gets like it
yeah.
just gets weird.
Look, and Philip, I'm glad you're here for this one because I have to bring this one up too. When I submitted Esmeralda Calhoun, and Phil went through and did the edits and did a fantastic job too, because and there wasn't that much going on. I submitted something that was really really clean, but there was one particular line where Chester, the 18-year-old, was getting questioned by his degenerate uncle, and his uncle was asking him if he ever laid with a woman before. And Chester's response was, "No, I ain't never had sex at a lady before." And he changed it to with, and I'm like, no, 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 it's
No.
at.
It's that.
It's. I ain't never had sex at a lady before, because like I'm just like that's what I need Chester to say right there.
Yep.
Like I know it's wrong. Like I know
And
it's wrong.
Phil wasn't wrong. Phil wasn't wrong,
Yeah,
and
no, no, he was
that's where the
100% correct.
communication. Yeah,
Right.
that's the communication, and that's like so like for me like suggestions like everything is a suggestion, and I
Yeah,
take
yeah,
that
yeah.
personally because like you can't look at these people and be like, nope, screw you. Like I'm changing your baby's eye color, and I don't give a damn.
That's good. Oh shoot, yeah. Well, listen, man. This has been a really good conversation just to dig into all this stuff, and not the usual with Mirthquake. We're not diving in all the creative Q&A because we've done that with you.
Yeah,
But I really did want to get a sense of just some of these other things that you've got going on and what some of the updates are, which is why it's just brilliant to have you back.
yeah,
But I would love to do another couple rounds of Pitch Storm.
yeah, yeah.
All right.
And I know we said nobody really cares about the individual work, but I would like to throw the one last update out there.
For sure. Absolutely. Floor is yours.
Um, I did get blessed with an invite to Deadly Flames Dragons in Combat. It just came
Yep.
out. I got the shiny new physical copies going on. This is from Bayonet Books.
Right.
And this is probably the most personal set of stories. There's going to be more than one. I'm waiting for the other one to publish. Ever. It draws on my ancestry, on my family history of going to powwow. It's got Rune Red Eagle.
Mm.
Rune is half Muskogee, which is Native American. Most people
Yep.
call it Creek. Rune's half Muskogee, and he's half Norse. His mother Scandinavian. And he combines these berserker and skinwalker myths. Just like Leo ties into the Midnight Sea, when you finally get your hands on Leo, when you get your hands on Rune, Rune does as well.
Mm.
And Rune is heavy metal steampunk, full bore. We're slaying dragons, we're fighting air pirates.
Awesome.
And he is this just powerful monster of a man who's dealing with his own post traumatic stress and trying to find where he belongs in a fractured world. Um,
Right.
and so uh, just wanted to throw that everybody out there that one just came out. It published last month. So
Absolutely. Yep.
yeah.
And available on Amazon and the whole thing, right?
Yeah, your standard places available on Amazon. I've got links on all my socials. If you
Right.
can't find it for some weird reason, just ask me.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And one of the things also, just it reminds me to remind everyone that when you hit somebody's Amazon link, even if you're not going to buy the book, and you go to their page, go to their author page and give that author page a follow. That's an important one, and it's one that we always forget about. Same on Goodreads. As much as I despise Goodreads for lots of lots of reasons, it is important to give your fellow authors follows on these things if you can remember to do so. So please remember to do that. I followed you early on that one, Jesse, too, on your Amazon page. Because then anytime something is thrown out there and published, if it's an anthology and your name's attached to it, it shows up on your Amazon page. And so then we get to see like what you've got going on, what's updated, what's new, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So all good stuff, man. And I love the concept of Rune as well. And like I said, and I'll keep saying this until I get the damn story to you, which is I'm supremely excited for Holy Diver stuff. I really think he got something there, and so I'm really jazzed. The only thing I'm having a really hard time with now, honestly, is like there's one setting in a scene, and I don't know where the perfect setting is. Everything else I've got worked out. I got like quite a bit of scene setting and switching and stuff like that going on. Like I said, it's complex. But there's also the stylistic choice of whether or not I want to name the main character. And I'm not sure if I want to do that or not. On the one hand, I like the idea of just the mysterious, not referenced by name character. But on the other hand, I realize that there's that comfort level with having a character's name, and things like that. So it's always tricky with this kind of stuff. Like especially names, people obsess over it. I've got pages and pages bookmarked of baby names, meanings, different countries, different cultures,
Yep.
surnames, and everything. Like I when I research names, I'm like I'm in it. I look at the whole story and what happened. What is the character trying to accomplish? And then what is a name that is typically foreign or something like that has a meaning that ties into something they're trying to do or don't have or whatever else, and connect it that way. But then sometimes I just want to name the damn character like Bob McBob, and just be done with it. So it's like, it's on one hand, just pick a stupid name. Does it really matter? On the other hand, it may be nameless, just like the Seeker kind of thing. Like I kind of dig that. So it's always something, but I'll get there, man.
I think that for everybody here, so we're not workshopping on personal stuff, but for everyone here, any character always has a name.
Yeah.
You may not know it, but and that name is not always Bob. That name could be just like what you said, the Seeker. Yeah. But somebody calls you something. In Rune's father, adopted dad, is the old man.
Yeah, there you go. Right.
That's it. He's just the old man. And everybody walks in and is like, hey, old man. And but that's if you show up at his shop looking for his master crafted steampunk works, he's still the old man.
Right.
Because that's just what people learn. So, John Wick's real name wasn't John Wick. No matter, but any man with a reputation, any character that interacts with people is going to gain a name.
I believe John Wick's real name was Ruprecht Flutterbottom, if I remember right. Go. I'm not sure. No, I did the same thing in the Caretaker, probably honestly. In Caretaker, his name is William St. Denis, but most people just call him Caretaker. Because he's the guy, and so everybody, it's just like the short, like kind of the nicknamey thing or whatever. But hey, let's do a round or two of Pitch Storm. What do you say?
Yeah, let's round.
How's your creative brain feeling right now?
Comfy.
All right, comfy is good. Yeah. A comfy, cozy story from Jesse on Pitch Storm.
Yeah, because that shit's gonna happen.
Read us all a bedtime story, Jesse, and let's see what happens.
Long ago, in a faraway place, there was a castle.
There was a
that was on fire.
Shotgun with a clip, and the shoulder thing that goes up.
Oh God!
It's my favorite, man. Come on. Oh, geez. All right, so let me intro this. Next up, folks, we're going to play some Pitch Storm. This little exercise provides us a live, real-time look into our guest's brain. This is a fully random event all about creation in real time, neurons firing and all that. I want you to be able to witness the magical moment when the spark of an idea manifests into something awesome and interesting in our physical world. Guests are given a random character, a random plot, and must pitch these two things as a story, detailed as their heart desires. Once the 30-second pitch is expired, there will be 2 additional rounds with a unique twist where the story is re-pitched. What does a comfy brain feel like? I'm not really sure. Audience heckling is mandatory, and as a lifeline, 2 mulligans. So if anything is a great distaste, or you're just like, nah, we can do better than that, just let me know, and we'll respin it. So I'm going to bounce a chat out of here for the time being.
Get out of
so
here.
I can
Oh, man,
bounce in. No, don't leave. No, don't leave. No, don't do that. Don't do that. Your marketing does need some work, man. All right. So here we go with the Wheel of Doom. You know how this goes. So what is it? Characters A or characters B?
B.
B. Here we go. Let's see what our first victim or character
What do we got?
is. What do we got? We've got ding. The lone survivor of a gruesome industrial accident. Ooh, nice.
Excellent.
Yeah, there's a lot going on with that for sure. All right, and what are we gonna do? A or B on plots?
A.
Let's go A. Illusion of choice. All right, let's spin it. Oh, there's the sound. And we're gonna go with tries to save their family from kidnappers.
Okay.
All right, pretty pedestrian, right? Lone survivor, gruesome industrial accident. You can come up with whatever you want on that one. Tries to save their family, tries from kidnappers. So 30 seconds on this one. Let's get the story started. And whenever you're ready, brother, go for it.
So there is a steel factory, and the steel factory has suffered a absolutely nightmarish, catastrophic accident. It was one of the largest steel factories in the country, and basically the entire factory was filled with horrendous molten steel.
Nope.
Everyone died. Terrible, burning, gruesome deaths.
Ooh.
But there was one man, the Slag Man. And the Slag Man, he survived, though not unscathed. Horrible burns. The metal worked its way into his flesh. He is a miracle of science. No one knows how he survived. But embarrassed by his wounds and the terrible accident and his failure to save the people that he cared about, he disappeared. Until one day, years later.
You can go. Yep.
Yeah, until one day, years later, his daughter arrives at the scene, at the abandoned factory, and just pours her guts out to her father that after his disappearance and death, his family went into deep debt, and the mafia has kidnapped the rest of their family.
Oh, shoot. All right, man. All right, yeah, all in for Jesse's version of the Toxic Avenger. I like that. Liam Neeson works for both Darkman and Taken. There we go. All right, let's go ahead and throw a wrinkle into this. Right, I'm invested so far. I love the idea of Slag Man. That's a real pulpy kind of. Yeah, I like it. So let's let's go. Let's go with this one. Crazy idea about what if the main character is actually the villain? Oh,
okay.
All right. Let's switch it up a little bit.
So, the Slag Man, hearing his daughter's cries, everything that's happened, gets his tools and digs into the slag and withdraws the now steel-covered bones of all of his fallen comrades.
No.
And goes on this quest for revenge to save his family.
All right.
But being that this is a mafia tale, and that the family had no one to pay any kind of ransom or anything like that, he bashes and beats his way through their goons and everything, only to find yeah, the mooks are destroyed only to find that his family has already been killed.
Oh, shoot.
And from there, the Slag Man vows his blood and rage-filled revenge, and basically just becomes this terrible, evil phantom that haunts the smelting factory and stalks the mafia in the night.
Love it. All right. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna do that one more wrinkle.
Sure,
And let's let me have you bring this home to a resolution on this one.
sure.
All right. Round and round it goes. Where it stops, we just found out. We have $100 special effects budget. How can you make that work?
You
Tell
know,
me some cheap practical effects we can do in this thing and then get me to an ending.
so I feel like it would be really easy to get some like metallic like paint. You know what I mean? Like the cheap like silver spray paint for the bones and everything like that.
It's so
Like
shiny, so chrome.
yeah, and just chrome everything out. Like go it's like red paint around his like slag wounds and everything like that.
Wrap that mannequin
Uh,
in aluminum foil.
yeah. Mallory is the dog. Okay. Yes, the dog's fine. The dog's the only one that makes it.
Obviously.
He feeds all of his slain enemies to the dog. Um,
Nice.
and basically, and in the end of it, the chase of the main mafia villain, and all the innocents. So he's just been slaughtering anyone that gets in his way the whole time. And in the end, he's confronted by his daughter, and his daughter realizes who he is and is just absolutely horrified. And he realizes what he's done. And he pulls a Terminator 2 and disappears into the slag with the
He's
mafia boss.
spray paints himself chrome as he just
Yeah.
ducks down.
Yep. Uh,
Trauma did it. This is
and
a trauma flick through and
yeah,
through, man, for
and
sure.
and then we're gonna do Slagman 2, where he actually becomes like the supernatural entity when he returns.
Bravo, sir. Bravo. And a new pulp hero was born. We have Slagman and Slagman 2. A real twist would to make it
I
rated
mean,
G.
G.
Yeah, that's right. They're like happy little songs, like the little metal dudes and like whatever.
Yep.
Oh man, yeah, that's good
Slagman,
stuff.
Slagman.
Slagman.
Yeah.
That's right.
And
With
then
some just like
he's just like bonking dudes, and they're like seeing stars and falling over. Yeah.
you need like some 70s like wah pedal, like kind of chicka waka, like that kind of thing. Slag man comes in and like I can see the whole banner and everything. Oh man, you
Yeah. No,
got something here.
I want to do the old boy hammer scene, but with
Oh
like
no.
two like steel encrusted femur bones.
Freaking brilliant. Yeah, dude. But it's not. It's just like, some plaster stuff with the aluminum foil because your effects budget's only
Right,
$100.
because the effects budget is terrible, and then,
This
like
is really
some
low.
some terrible CGI bullet like bounces off the metal in his skin, and yeah.
Some dude's out there just with like a spitball, like clunk. Oh, that's good, man. I like it. All right, let's do one more. What do you say?
Sure.
Let's go characters A this time. You're gonna switch it up.
Yeah.
All
Let's
right,
do the bounce the same way.
got you. Balance it out. So we're gonna start with A. Oh man, that was a good one. Slag man. Plucky down on her luck actress.
Okay.
All right, and let's see what she's got going on. Races to stop a supernatural killer before they strike again.
It's Slagman 2.
It is Slagman too. Slag woman, slag person too. You got to keep it for modern audiences, man. It's got to be slag
Oh,
person.
Jesus
No,
Christ.
no, it's just me being an idiot. All right,
Yeah,
here we go.
I know.
That should be one. Honestly, that should be one of the notes. Like, let's just make this as generically politically correct as possible, and repitch it. I'll have to add that one in. All right, man. Plucky down on her luck. Actress is racing to stop a supernatural killer before they strike again. Slag man. And give me 30 seconds, man, and go with this one. What do you got?
Cool. So Lindsay Lohan is going to play a investigative journalist who is investigating the events of Slagman 1 and 2. And this is going to be Slagman Legends, and they're going to clean up the old smelting factory, and the
Right.
spirit of Slagman will not allow that to happen. It has become a sacred place to this entity. And so he, as the foreman comes in, he kills the foreman and beats him with
Right.
his terrible foam drummed out.
Bends
Like,
as he hits with
yeah,
it.
yeah. Um, and and
Oh, shoot.
she's like this washed up, like, journalist that's like hooked on crazy drugs, but she knows what she saw, and she's gonna dive in and save the
Nobody
day.
believes it. Yeah, of
Yeah,
course.
nobody believes it, and
Yeah.
think that just some crazy hobos out there with a hammer or something.
I love it. We got a whole we're making a franchise now. This is freaking
It
fantastic,
fit.
dude.
It just fit.
It does fit. Slag man, slag man. All right, let's see what our first note is on this. I want to be saying that forever. All
I'm
right.
gonna now. I gotta write Slagman now, man.
You're
This is
gonna have
killing
to
me.
write slag man, and we're gonna need merch, buddy. Like I'm just saying. The foreign market loves action and horror. How do we add lots of both?
No,
Oh boy.
I already answered this
I mean, it's
question.
kind of already there. Do you want me to respin
Yeah.
this one? Yeah,
Uh,
let's
I mean, I don't know. That one would be fun, but y'all already know the answer to that. So that's the way I would have taken it. Would have been,
right.
imagine lots of like them hiring union workers, aka more mafia goons from the son of the dude that got his ass beat. Uh,
Add more
and
mooks.
and yeah, and we're doing lots of more mooks getting their legs broke and getting their skulls bashed in and getting dropped into what's it called, vats of boiling metal. Yeah, she works for, no joke, she works for the AJC, Phil. You're not wrong there. Um, yeah, but yeah, respin it, David. Let's
Yeah.
find
Let's
something that I haven't already basically talked about.
exactly. I'm gonna be singing that all day tomorrow. Yeah,
I'm gonna have
exactly.
to I'm gonna have to hire a metal band to do the Slagman theme.
Yes, you are. How about we add a villain that's an old wizard obsessed with kidnapping princesses?
Okay, so we're gonna go holy diver on this, I guess. Um, and the spirit of the Slagman not only has attracted an investigative journalist,
Hmm.
but has also attracted more supernatural forces. And the great wizard Karkaroth has decided that he wants to harness the evil energies of the Slagman and enslave him. That he can use him to power all of his time warping and reality
I,
bending demon
I
summoning
like it.
spells.
Yep. A little bit of a
So
Wishmaster vibe. Yeah.
yep. And he ends up kidnapping Lindsay Lohan's character, and the Slagman has to break free of his bounds and save her.
It's good. Oh man, can we have the original foundry have been built on an old Indian burial ground? Can we hit that trope too?
Yep, yep.
Let's add
Let's
that
do it.
too.
I'm
All right.
about it.
Let's throw your last note in here and let's bring Slagman 2 to an end. You know what's
Oh,
fun?
this can't be two. It's got to be three.
It's
This is
3, that's
Slagman
right. I'm
three.
sorry.
Yep.
Yeah, it's already a spin-off. You know what's fun? When random inanimate objects come to life, let's add some of that and get it to an ending, man. Here we go.
Yeah. Absolutely. So the evil wizard Karkaroth is an animist. Um, he animates glass sculptures,
Mm.
and the glass sculptures come to life in all of these different forms. But the Slagman, through his ascension into this supernatural being, uh, has also developed the ability to animate metal.
Oh,
And so, as the Slagman and the evil wizard are slugging things out, uh, they are their minions, both metal and glass, are also combating each other, and chains are coming off the walls and wrapping things up, and the glass shards are flying, and
I
it's
love it.
this. we're gonna blow the whole special effects budget for the whole movie uh,
the rest of
on
the
that.
$47.
Yeah, yes, yep. On trying to generate that and doing like crazy, like throwing like glass shards across like a paper screen and things like that.
So what's our ending? What's the what is the end of Slag until Slagman 9 or whatever?
Uh,
what's the ending right
oh,
now?
it always ends the same way. He takes the villain into the vat of slag. Like it's always
Of
it's
course.
got to. And so in this one, like the last statue's broken and he's all out of spells. And it looks like he's going to capture the journalist and fall back into fall back into a portal. And at the last moment, Slagman wraps him up in chains and drags him down into the
Oh,
vat.
nice. And the last thing you see
Yep, exactly.
there it is. Oh man. See, I was looking forward to doing this one again with you, and for good reason, because you have literally just created a franchise, and every single person that's in the chat is going to be like, Slagman, Slagman. Damn stream. Bow, chicka, waka, chicka, waka. I could see the whole thing. It's the whole picture is right there, man. You really
Oh
got
no,
something here.
boy. You don't want to go in there.
Don't go in there.
Before you go in there, I got to tell you about the slag, man.
There was an old Indian burial ground. Oh man. See, this is why I love doing this show, man. This kind of stuff is just brilliant. I appreciate it, sir. You're a very good sport for letting me put you through that again.
That one wrote itself.
That was a good one. That was like we're setting the bar really high on some of these for sure. Hey, look, it's all in good fun, and for me, it's gonna be the calling card for Jesse.
I got Vera's got to move over on my cards now. I got to get a slag man drawn up
You
too.
need some Slagman stuff.
Yeah.
We need some slag swag. We need like
Slag swag.
There's all sorts of stuff going on with this.
This slag man 3 hat.
Somebody call Trauma. He would totally do that. No, that's good stuff, man. And this just goes to show you, like, this is the brilliance of taking an author and a creative guy and just being like, hey, just come up with something stupid, man. Let's just have some fun. And you never know, like, these ideas go. Like, I would write the hell out of a Slagman story because that's fun as anything. Seriously, like that's right up my alley for sure. You know, all those good tropes and all that kind of stuff. We can even add some of the commandos. You got like some good slag puns,
Yep.
something about metal and molten, like all this kind of stuff. I only listen to metal, like something stupid like that. And,
Yeah. Big, like spike point metal mohawk.
Like a mohawk.
Yeah. Like
it's so good. All right. Well, there we go, man. So thank you for that, first of all. And thank you again for coming back and just being on the show, man. It's always a treat. You and I are good friends, and I always have a great time chatting with you, for sure. It's nice to do it on the stream again. And, I got some stuff cooking. People, from Earthquake. We're going to do a little bit of a pivot to some new things. And I'm going to get some of these people involved, including Jesse, on some of the stuff that we've got ahead. And I'm very, very excited to share all those kinds of things. Look for that drop pretty soon, because the schedule is quickly getting out of control and I need to do something. So there's that. Anything else that you want to add? Anything else you want to throw out there? Final thoughts, Jesse, on any of this stuff that we talked about?
No.
All right.
I mean, have fun, people. Find what you want. Go after it. Be voracious.
Absolutely.
A big part of the Midnight Sea, that I have. Some people get an invitation to the Holy Diver. And the big thing that somebody is a diver is a phrase that one of the main characters uses a lot, which is, may we all find what we seek. And that's how I now, if you've done my Substack or anything like that, if I write an official letter as Jesse James Fain, as the author, That's how I end everything. So I
Nice.
hope as you go out into the world, whatever it is that you are looking for, whatever your soul is calling for, which is the whole big point of the sea, whatever drives you to risk yourself, to put your neck out there, may we all find what we seek.
Absolutely, man. Well said. Even if it's a log flume in Hoboken. I'm
Yep.
just saying. Yeah, I'm gonna need to do that. Like really, this thing. All right, man. Well, listen, I appreciate it, and we'll be seeing more of you and all that kind of stuff. As always, you're always welcome on here, man. We can chat about all this kind of stuff all the time.
Yeah, yeah.
Super excited to be involved in that project, and very grateful for you for asking me, because it's going to be something really really cool. And I get to stretch my legs. I'm writing something for this project that I have not attempted before. So that's kind of what this is all about, man. I'm seeking and I'm finding, just as the story is going to go. Well said indeed. May we all find what we seek. Well, chat, thank you very much. I'm going to go ahead and play the song, and go ahead and read the outro here. And thank you everybody for being here, and being such fun on all the conversations that we've had, starting out with the whole hot air balloon parachute cheat trick, which I will address in the next Mirthquake episode for sure. So next week I've got KT Carlisle coming on. Her and Anthony are going to be on here, which is really cool. She's been rocking it lately. And then a little bit of a pivot. I'll be opening up probably just a couple dates for other Mirthquake solo guests, and we're going to do some other good stuff. Good talk, and thank you. So Jesse, hang on with me. I'll talk to you in the green room afterwards. But for now, folks, thank you for tuning in and spending some time with us tonight. Special thanks to Jesse for being a great sport and a wonderful guest. Highly encourage you to check out all of his work and all of the things. Links to everything's in the description of the video on YouTube, Rumble, probably on everything else too. And if you would be interested in being part of the Mirthquake community and a guest on the show, it's very easy. Head over to mirthquake.show for the deets. And hopefully soon we'll be prying your brain open, throwing it on the internet for everyone to see. I really feel like the song should be Slag Man, to like get us out that way instead. But great, yes, great job indeed. Subscribe, don't be a dweeb, super thumbs up, all that kind of stuff. If you guys want to hang out with me tomorrow night, I am being interviewed by Matt from Bearded Book Beast. So look for that stream to hit, I think, 8:30 tomorrow night. We're going to have a little bit of fun, chat some Space Pew Pew and some whatever else. It'll be weird to be on the other end of this thing. But like, it's all good. So Jesse, thanks again. And everybody, thank you so much, and have a great night. And I will see you all soon.